All right, we are live. What is up, y'all? It is Krod7435 here on YouTube. I wanted to make this quick little live stream video to chat about Alycia Baumgardner versus Terri Harper. By no means, this is no flame to Alycia Baumgardner or Terri, but I wanted to make this quick live stream to debunk this stupid argument that a lot of people have been saying about, or not like obviously not a lot of people, but all the YouTube troll channels that want to just hate on Alycia Baumgardner or fighters on the coincidental list, so that way they could just prop up their politically backed fighters or just fighters that they're racially backing with. But I wanted to break down this stupid argument that did Alycia Baumgardner cheat against Terri Harper? Um, Me personally, I don't think so. I don't think Alycia Baumgardner had any means to cheat against Terri Harper, and I personally felt like that fight was as clean as it can get. If Terri Harper felt like she was being cheated in that fight, if I was in her position, I would have told Alycia, "Did you cheat?" Yada yada yada, and obviously Alycia, she would say no, but still, like, I'm sure Terri would have said something, with her management or whatever to say, like, can someone investigate this? I felt like I got cheated. There would have been some form of like legal prosecution being, held onto Alycia. And as far as what the laws in the UK go, she can easily bring that up to a court of law in Britain. And I don't see why Terri did not do that, because if she knew that she got cheated, wouldn't she have been notified by her management or by Eddie Hearn? Like, I'm pretty sure Eddie Hearn would have known that leading up to the fight, or knowing that, hey, Alycia, she don't look naturally fit in this fight. She looks like she's juicing, but it shows like within her weigh-in photos and everything that you could see, like, she didn't cheat. She came into that fight clean, and she did what she had, what she had to do. And if she were to cheat, she would have been blasted all over the media. Everybody would have talked smack about her. She wouldn't be good for reputation, and her fan base definitely would have gone downhill. So it's like, that's a stupid argument in it of itself, and it makes zero sense whatsoever. But if you guys want to hop in here and speak your piece, obviously no trolls allowed, because if you trolls hop on here, you know what I'm gonna fucking do. But all I'm going to say, to make this quick and easy for people to understand, is that yes, the sport of boxing is mega corrupt. And the problem with the sport is that there's no governing body similar to that of an NBA or NFL or any other major sport, where they have to, like, where they have a centralized marketized commission stable where they check and screen every single athlete before and after their sporting events. So if boxing had that, where it was 100% like, look, you come here to the fight, you get checked, on drug testing, you get checked on everything. Like, everything needs to be out of your system. There has to be no performance enhancers leading up to the fight. But after your fight, yeah, sure, if you want to use some form of like CBD or some form of like medical treatment to help your body rest, so that way you could be ready for your next fight, that's fine. But if you're using like any form of steroids or any form of PEDs or PEDs, so that's being used within training camp, no, like that should be off limits. But I understand, like, certain athletes need to use certain forms of drugs to kind of help, I guess, like their physical or mental state of mind. But I guess like that can be evened out by some form of like drug marketized like drug marketized agencies that can step in to say, hey, even though that we do have athletes that need certain medicines to kind of help their body flow. If it's approved by those type of stables within a sports organization for boxing, that's good by all means. If that's good to use and that's not going to help a fighter, have a unfair advantage over the other fighter, that's fine. Because I know, like, players in the NBA, like, they have to use some form of performance drugs to kind of help their body rest and cool down, so that way they could be ready for the next 81 or 82 game season that they need to be that they need to be prepared for, because not everybody's going to be 100% on the court. And I guess this is where I let the gray area comes in for boxing. Like, if Alycia did cheat against Terri, why wouldn't she not defend herself to say, "Oh, I didn't cheat," blah blah blah? She would have said something by now to say to all these weird dumbass trolls or anybody in the media that's trying to slander her, to say that she was a cheater. And I've yet to see any evidence that shows that she did cheat. Because if she did cheat, what makes anybody in this world think that she would need to cheat to beat a girl from the UK by the name of Terri Harper, who had 2 belts, and this is in the UK? Because if Alycia was caught cheating, and let's just say Terri, she actually had some good evidence behind her, along with her team, or whoever that had found out that Alycia was cheating. Alycia, she would have been prosecuted literally from top to bottom. She would have been prosecuted by the UK courts, and that shit probably would have been prosecuted in America. Who knows? I don't know, but guess what? She would have been prosecuted. So if Alycia knew she was cheating, she would have said something to defend her imagery. But if the evidence was strong enough to show that Alycia did cheat, then she would have been exposed and she would have been prosecuted for it. She possibly would have been thrown in jail, or if not, she definitely would have been she would have been stripped, and she would have been heavily fined. But that's obviously not true, because Alycia, she had nothing in her system. There was nothing coming back negative. She came into that fight, ready, healthy, and strong. She looked, extremely muscular, because guess what? She she works out with men. She spars with men. Like, literally, like, I don't know if people don't understand, like, certain females in female boxing, they work out with men and they spar with men, so that way no females can know what their type of style that they're fighting against. Because if they were to if they were to spar certain women in their division that knew about their style, that would kind of make them look vulnerable to the other opponent, that could see some holes in the other fighter's game. So that way the opponent one day can utilize that in a real fight, and then that makes it easier for them to win the fight. If not, just give them more opening factors to win. So Alycia, she obviously spars with men, so that way nobody can't know what she's getting herself into with her opponents, because she has a different adaptation, in her fighting style. And to me, I personally view Alycia as a true boxer puncher, because she can hit, but she's also a terrific boxer with amazing ring IQ and ring methodology, uh, like micro macro decision making. So, to that sense, like, Alycia, she is naturally gifted and in her own right, to be that type of boxer that has great mature defensive reads in her game. So as far as her fighting style goes, she basically fights like a dude. She's pretty much almost like the epitome of a little bit of Gervonta Tank Davis mixed with a little bit of EJ, and then she has a little bit of, I don't know. As far as like any guys at 130, I don't know. That's a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, I definitely like to put her next to a little bit of EJ with a little bit of Tank. So she's a multi-versatile fighter, that's for sure. But as far as her, like fighting, you know, like fighting with any cheating mechanisms, I've yet to see that. She's had over like what 11 or 12 professional fights. If she had been caught, in the past doing that, she definitely wouldn't have gone up, in the rankings any higher, and she would have been ratted out to not get a world title shot. So I purely believe this is all just, biased speculation that people want to say that, oh well, if you look at her weigh-in photos, it will show that she had needle marks on her abs, blah blah blah. And come to find out, like, it's not even true, because Alycia, she doesn't, like her body is a true 130-pound fighter. Like she has that body type to become a 130 pounder. And if anything, she could definitely balloon up in weight, and she could definitely be as big as, I would probably say, maybe a 140 or a 147 pounder, because her body and her height and her physique is definitely built to be bigger than 130. So I mean, Alycia, she's good where she's at, but for anybody saying like, oh, she's not built for 130, blah blah blah, she has to be juicing. How can she be juicing when all of her muscles, basically every single muscular physique aspect that you see out of her is all pure muscle. It's all pure muscle. It's pure, like lean cut, like, yeah, like lean cut physique. So that's very much how I see it with Alycia. I don't really think there's really anything else for me to say, because I just wanted to get this off my chest, because I knew something like that was gonna come. So I'll be the first one coming out to say that she didn't cheat whatsoever, because these are the same people that defend Oscar Valdez and defend Canelo Alvarez when they cheat, but they will turn a blind eye and try to say, "Oh, Floyd Mayweather, he cheated. He cheats. Deontay Wilder, he cheats. Oh, Errol Spence, he cheats." And take a look at Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson. They cheat too. And they'll be just as racist and just as mentally retarded to be those type of racist, trolls online trying to say that Alycia Baumgardner, she's a cheater, when clearly she won fair and square, defeating everyone in her division. And the only one loss that she lost to was another black woman that's a Dominican or some shit like that. Christina Lena Darto. She's that Greek woman that's, of Dominican heritage, but still, it's just like Alycia, she's fought all the best competition at 130. She's done what she had to do to be at that level. So if she had been caught cheating, she would have been prosecuted a long time ago, and there wouldn't be anything for anyone to say anything nice about her, including myself and many other channels like Champside, BFTB, Blue Blood Sports TV. Everybody would have been like, okay, she cheated. And guess what? Like, we would speak on it, right? But there's no evidence whatsoever to say that that she cheated, because you ain't got no fucking evidence to show that she cheated whatsoever. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. As far as everything else goes, Terri Harper, she does have a voice, on this. So if she believed that Alycia did cheat, I'm pretty sure she would have said something about it. And on top of that, she would have wanted to bring this up to a legal team, to bring it to a court of law in the UK. And guess what? Alycia, she would have had to show up and testify with her own legal defense justice. So, by any means necessary, I truly believe Alycia, she beat Terri fair and square, and there was no form of cheating because she did not look like any type of cheating fighter that would make her look exposed to the point that she would cheat. Her gloves were on right, her body looked fine. There was no needle marks at the weigh-in photos, because they always try to use this like same bullshit argument on Floyd Mayweather to say, "Oh well, take a look at Floyd Mayweather's abs, man. You know, his abs look like that he's been juicing, blah blah blah." But yeah, they have no fucking evidence. And every time when Floyd drug tests, he goes through Olympic style drug testing. He doesn't go through VADA. He basically makes sure every single time he fights, he makes sure he's clean and the opponent is clean. There hasn't been any single evidence showing that Floyd Mayweather cheated in any of his fights. And I remember that one stupid ass HBO or ESPN type of clip where they try to like say Floyd Mayweather could have cheated by using some form of solution on his hands to basically help his hands heal every time he fights. And people want to say like that was a form of cheating, when clearly, if it was like, like if those if that product at the time wasn't legal to use, Floyd Mayweather would have been fined, or he would have been exposed for using that type of product. But Floyd Mayweather obviously still kept on using it because his hands were getting fucked up every time when he was fighting, when he turned into Money Mayweather, because he was no longer Pretty Boy, because his hands were getting fucked up every single time he was knocking people out. So Floyd needed to use some form of product to help his hands heal. So therefore, I'm pretty sure he was able to use that type of product to heal his hands, because Floyd, he definitely would have broke his hands a long time ago. His hands would have been his hands would have been broke like several times, and if anything, he probably would have given up boxing by then. So, I don't see any issue of like what Floyd Mayweather had done, because he did everything right. If he had been caught been caught cheating ever in his career, everybody would have been said, "Oh, Floyd Mayweather, he's a cheater, blah blah blah," and he did this, he did that. Nah, man, you guys just hate Floyd Mayweather because he's black. You hate him because he is the most successful black American fighter that beat your favorite fighter and beat the living shit out of every single fighter. If not the most consistent, difficult fights he has taken within his career. Guys like Gennaro Hernandez, Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya, fucking Luis Castillo. He beat literally anybody that you can think of. And guess what? He pissed you guys off in the making, or in the process, because you guys did not want to see him succeed. And this is what you guys keep on harping about, to say, "Oh, well, you guys always bring up race, blah blah blah, and all this other bullshit nonsense, but you guys are the ones that started it." Always remember that. You guys are the ones that are bringing up race and all this, dumbass fucking division in boxing, when people like me, real boxing fans, true hardcore boxing fans, just want to see the best fight the best and everything on an equal playing field. But you motherfuckers are the ones that started it. Always fucking remember that. And then on top of that, you guys are the same motherfuckers that will defend your politically backed fighters, i.e. Canelo Alvarez, Oscar Valdez, Antonio Margarito. You would easily defend those fighters by any means necessary, because if they were caught cheating and we exposed that fighter for what he or she had done, you guys would say, "Oh, that's nonsense. The commission definitely, pass everything, pass, shit. The commission made sure everything was, on an equal playing field. There was no corruption, blah, blah, blah. Everything was completely fair. So like, why are you guys trying to say that they cheated? Blah blah blah. No, because if you guys are the same idiots that go after coincidentalist fighters that have not cheated once in their careers, but you turn a blind eye on your own hopeless fighters that do cheat, or if not, they try to attempt to cheat with nobody looking. Why can't we criticize you and like like your favorite hopeless fighters? Because your hopeless fighters are the same fucking morons that will stand right behind you idiots talking for them when they can't talk for themselves. So yeah, that's why these racist trolls be hating on Alycia Baumgardner, because Alycia Baumgardner, she's obviously a coincidentalist fighter, and she's a black woman. So that's really how it is in the sport of boxing. It's very sad because I really wish boxing was the number one sport in the world, because boxing is by far the greatest sport in the fucking world. But if all this cheating and political corruption wasn't in the way, that obviously makes people want to kill people outside of the sport, um, then boxing would be number one, hands down. I even said it to Nestor Bravo when we had that live, or I think that recording a few weeks back. But um, I just purely believe, just due to the blood and the political division, like everything that has been bloodshedded out of the sport. There's just so much hate being built through so many people that have destroyed the sport for centuries, if not thousands of years. Who knows? But hopefully sooner than later, when decentralization and freedom does come to help out these sports, um, that will definitely make everything better. Because just to keep it real with a lot of you guys, like basketball, and I would say, well, actually, no, like my favorite sport when I was growing up was basketball. That was my number one sport. And then it was boxing. And then it was baseball. And football is like my least favorite sport, and soccer. But my main sports is basketball and boxing and baseball. Because why? Because those sports really brought the best out of every athlete, and those sports gave you something to look up to, and it made you like those athletes based off of how much hard work that they put up inside the gym to be the best of who they were. So, for me, liking basketball and boxing the most, those sports actually had a lot of time and dedication into it, where you had to give it your 110% to be where you are in those sports. But the difference between basketball and boxing is that boxing, it's only just you in the ring, and you're putting your life on the line to fight somebody that you don't know, that could be cheating against you on fight night, if not being dirty against you. And there's no marketized central body that comes in to make sure that it's fair. Compared to MMA, everything's fair. You've never heard of any MMA fighter cheating, and even if they were even if they were caught cheating, they don't fight. They get kicked out. They get fined. They get prosecuted. Everything is regulated very, very well for MMA, especially for the UFC in particular, or Bellator, or whatever promotional platform that is. But for boxing, it's not like that. Boxing is literally like the red market version of a wild wild west, where there's guns pointed at every single angle, and you don't know who's going to shoot first, because obviously that the Wild West isn't really built like that. That wasn't how it was historically. But to be oxymoronic about it, it's a definitely a red market version of one, where nobody trusts anybody the fair way or the right way, and people always have a gun behind someone else's back to backstab you. So the only way boxing ever gets better is that people speak up on it, and obviously the state corruption needs to be taken out of the way, and decentralization comes in. But then on top of that, if the market size innovation steps in, where you do have competitors that actually want to organize boxing as a league, that will be awesome. Because if that does come, which I'm pretty sure it will, because the National Boxing Association can definitely make its return, and I would hope that it does. But if that were to be a thing, hopefully in the future, then there will be no cheating, or there will be least forms of corruption coming in, because a lot of people will have more say and more representation to make sure boxers get paid. They don't have to pay anything out of pocket. Everything is paid for, and everything is, basically on a equal level playing field. There's no ifs and buts about it. You get paid the amount that the fans pay for you, and the fighters come to fight night clean, ready, and then boom, have a good show. That's all that we want. Because if boxing does not get that, you're going to see a lot more dead bodies in this sport. And that's what's going to cause people to say, you know what? Enough is enough. Fuck boxing. And then guess what? People are just going to probably go back out to the streets and start to hurt people. And they're probably going to look at different sports other than boxing, because boxing is literally like 5% left of like what it can offer. And when the sport is completely gone, where people are just like, okay, there's too much violence in the sport, too much corruption, and the mass majority of fans like flock over to the UFC, or the NBA, or NFL or MLB, especially in America, then boxing's basically nothing. Because without the American athletes coming out to show out their true natural abilities, that's really what sells boxing. Boxing is tailor made for American fighters. But that's very much what I have to say. Hopefully that the sport does get better. I'm still going to come back out here doing what I have to do to try to help out the sport, because I love the sport of boxing, but I also have let the same belief of having fair justice in every sport. So I'm just going to continue to do what I have to do to give you guys what you guys asked for. And I just try to bring out the best content out there. So, yeah, shout out to the Queens, Alycia Baumgardner and Terri Harper. No shade on either fighter, but like I said what I had to say. And if there was any illegal corruption going on within that fight, something would have been said about it from either team. So that's pretty much what I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys later, and peace out. Bye. Shout out to the LDBC. Bye.